Chapter 21. I saw you skating. I called to you, Lee said. Roxy struggled to catch her breath. You scared me. Sorry, he replied, but a grin spread over his face. I keep doing that, don't I? Yes, Roxy thought bitterly. You keep deliberately scaring me. How come you scare so easily, he demanded, stepping up closer to her. I have to get home, Roxy replied, ignoring his question. I have to call Ursula. She hurt her ankle. I'll walk you, Lee said. No, please! The words burst out shrilly. He stared at her, his smile fading. I'll walk you just to my house, he offered. It's on the next block. He pointed to the street sign. They were on Seabreeze. Really, Roxy hesitated. Her heart had leaped to her throat. I don't want to be here with Lee, she told herself. I don't want to be walking on this dark, empty street with him, and he knows it. He's trying to frighten me. He's trying to frighten me to death. He murdered Maddie Andrews. He crushed my turtle, and he's threatening me. She shuddered. You cold? He asked. Want to borrow my sweatshirt? He started to tug at the sleeve of his dark sweatshirt. No, she replied curtly. I'm okay. I have a t-shirt under it. You could borrow the sweatshirt. She was walking rapidly now, taking the longest stride she could, eager to get to his house, to get rid of him. I'm okay, she told him. He stayed with her stride for stride. How come I'm always scaring you? He repeated the question. Do you really think I'm such a scary guy? I think you're a murderer, Roxy thought, ignoring a sharp pain in her side, refusing to slow her pace. They crossed the street onto his block. I'm just a little stressed out these days, she replied. A lame answer, but she didn't care. Go away, Lee, she silently pleaded. Please, just go away. You need to get out on the water, Lee said quietly, putting a hand on her shoulder. His hand was hot. It burned right through the sleeve of her t-shirt. A long boat ride will cool you right out, Roxy. No thanks, she murmured. His house loomed ahead. The porch light was on, casting a yellow cone of light over the small front stoop. I never wanted to see this house again, Roxy thought. Never. Seeing the house brought back all the horror of that night. She saw herself trapped halfway down the stairway. She heard Maddie Andrews' frightened cries, heard the slaps, the shouts, the fight. I never want to see this house. I wish this house would burn to the ground, and Lee with it. She turned her head, turned her gaze across the street, and walked past. So, how about the boat ride? Lee was saying, his soft voice breaking through Roxy's painful thoughts. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll take you out past the point. It's really awesome. I don't think so, Roxy replied. She stopped and turned to him. We've gone past your house. Come out for a ride, he insisted, adjusting his shark's cap. His dark eyes peered into hers. Say yes. You'll enjoy it. I can't, Roxy repeated. Really? Go home, Lee. Please go home. Her eyes darted frantically around the dark street. No one around. No one. No one to help her if he decided to grab her. If he decided he was through torturing her, through teasing her. If he decided to kill her the way he killed Maddie Andrews. No one to help her. She was all alone. Your house. We passed your house, she said, pointing to it. He turned. Huh? No, we haven't. Her mouth dropped open in confusion. What do you mean? That's your house. She pointed again. He shook his head, a strange smile on his face. That's not my house. That's my house over there. He pointed past an empty lot to the next house, a long, low, ranch-style house. Roxy gasped out loud. Oh no, she thought, raising a hand to her mouth. That night, I was in the wrong house. Chapter 22. I'd invite you in to have a Coke or something, Lee said, but my parents have company. Maybe some other time? Roxy stared back at him, unable to reply. Her eyes drifted over his shoulder to the dark shingled house where she had hidden that night. The wrong house. Not Lee's house. It wasn't Lee, she told herself. It wasn't Lee in that house. It wasn't Lee who killed that girl. The dark trees began to whisper. The hedges appeared to tilt and sway. Roxy grabbed hold of a mailbox to steady herself. I'm so mixed up, she thought. So totally mixed up. Mixed up. Messed up. I messed up. I blamed Lee, and it wasn't even his house. Messed up. Mixed up. Are you okay? Lee asked. You look kind of weird. Who lives in that house? Roxy asked in a trembling voice. She pointed back to the house she had broken into. Lee shrugged. He turned to look at it with her. I'm not sure, he said. People aren't too friendly in this neighborhood. I mean, They never came over and introduced themselves or anything. I think their name is Metzger. Metzger? Roxy couldn't keep the surprise from her voice. You know them? Lee asked. There's a guy about our age. Ray Metzger? Roxy cried shrilly. Goes to our school? Yeah, guess so, Lee replied. I don't really know him, but I've seen him mowing the lawn. Ray Metzger is Terry's best friend, Roxy said, thinking out loud. Terry is always hanging out at Ray's. Terry spends more time there than he does at his own house. I've never been there. I don't like Ray, but... Roxy cut off her words with a sharp gasp. That's why the angry voice in the living room sounded so familiar, she thought. I heard Terry, not Lee. I heard Terry fighting with that girl in the dark living room, but I didn't want to believe it, so I told myself it was Lee. Had she known all along that it had been Terry? Was that why she had been so desperate for Terry not to find out that she had been hiding in the house, that she had heard the poor girl's screams? Had she known all along that it was Terry, had refused to accept it, refused to believe it, until now? Sure you're okay? Lee asked, his hand on her shoulder again. Roxy nodded. I'm just really tired. She raised her eyes to his. She suddenly felt so guilty. I turned Lee into the police, she realized. I accused him of killing that girl, and it wasn't even his house. Is that offer for a boat ride still good? She asked. The words burst from her lips before she even thought about it. A smile slowly spread over Lee's handsome face. Yeah, sure. I'll meet you at the dock tomorrow after my French class, Roxy told him. Sounds good, he replied. Want me to walk you the rest of the way home? No, thanks. I'll be okay, Roxy said. Sorry I was vegged out tonight. See you tomorrow. He gave her a two-fingered salute, tipping his fingers to his temple. She called good night and hurried away. She could hear Lee jogging to the low, ranch-style house. His house. Not the house Roxy had been in. Not the house where Terry had murdered Maddie Andrews. Terry admitted to me that he knew Maddie, Roxy remembered suddenly. But why did he kill her? Why? Should she go to the Rocky Shores police? Should she tell them it was Terry and not Lee? They'll just think I'm crazy, she told herself. There's no way they'll believe me now. I have to break up with Terry, she decided. I have to stay away from him. He's dangerous. So dangerous. She made her way through the dark streets and turned onto her block. Low clouds blocked the moon, making the street even darker than usual. The trees had been whispering in a soft breeze, but now the wind had stopped. The trees were silent. All was still, still as death. She walked up her front lawn and stepped onto the walk. She was a few feet from the door when a figure darted out from the shadows at the side of the house. He grabbed her roughly and spun her around. Terry, she cried. What are you doing here? Chapter 23. Terry, let go of me, Roxy cried. Did you miss me? Terry grinned at her. He let his hand slide from her shoulders. I'm really tired, Roxy told him. She stared at his face. He looked like a big Huck Finn. How could he be a murderer? How? Where were you? He demanded suspiciously. I've been waiting here for hours. Just skating, Roxy replied curtly. She wanted to get into the house, away from him. How's Ursula? She asked. Not too bad, Terry replied, still studying her face intently. Her father put ice on it, and the swelling started to go down. She didn't have to go to the hospital. It was nice of you to drive her home, Roxy murmured, gazing toward the house. The porch light was on, but the living room was dark. I'm a nice guy, Terry said, grinning his boyish grin at her. His eyes lit up. So, can I come in for a while? No, Roxy answered quickly, too quickly. She could see the surprise on his face. I'm really tired, Terry, she added. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay? She started to the front door, but stopped when she felt his hand on her shoulder. He turned her around and brought his face close to kiss her. She turned her face at the last moment, and his lips brushed her cheek. I can't stand to kiss him, Roxy thought, feeling her stomach knot in dread. I can't kiss a murderer. I can't. I've got to go in. Really, she said in a whisper. His eyes narrowed suspiciously. Were you really just skating all this time? He asked in a cold, hard voice. Roxy nodded. Yeah, of course. With who? He demanded. Nobody, Roxy stammered. She had always hated it when he started acting jealous. Now it frightened her beyond words. His eyes burned into hers. He suddenly seemed bigger to her, stronger, more menacing. He could break me in two, Roxy thought with a shiver. Good night, she choked out and hurried to the front door. Slipping quickly inside, she closed the door, locked it, and hooked the chain. Her heart pounding, still seeing his dark eyes glare into hers, she made her way through the darkness to her room. Without turning on a bedroom light, she undressed and pulled on a nightshirt. Feeling chilled, she padded to the window to close it. Staring down to the front yard, Roxy saw that she had left the porch light on. In the pale, billowing light, she saw a large figure halfway down the driveway. Terry, standing in the driveway, his hands at his sides, staring at her house. Just standing there, staring, still as a statue. I really think you should tell the police, Ursula said. I can't, Roxy told her. She was lying on her back on top of her bedspread, holding the phone between her cheek and shoulder. I can't just go to the police and say, oops, I made a little mistake. It was Terry, not Lee. They'll tell me to go home and call a shrink. They really will. Well, what are you going to do? Ursula asked. If Terry saw you at Metzger's house that night? I don't know what to do, Roxy admitted. I'm really frightened, but... So, you're going out with Lee tonight? Ursula interrupted. Where are you going? Just to the movies, at the mall in Rockford, Roxy told her. And how was the boat ride this afternoon? Ursula asked. Roxy heard more than a little bit of envy in Ursula's voice. Great, she replied. Lee always looks so serious. You know he hardly ever smiles. I was surprised that he has such a good sense of humor. He's cute, too, Ursula commented dryly. I'm going to break up with Terry, Roxy blurted out. When? Ursula asked. I don't know. I'm just so mixed up, Ursula. But I know I can't go out with Terry again. I'm so frightened of him. I keep picturing that poor crushed turtle, and I keep thinking that could be me. Listen, Roxy, at least tell your father, Ursula urged. Your father won't think you're crazy. He'll... Oh, there's a horn, Roxy cried, scrambling to her feet. That's Lee. Got to run, Ursula. I'll call you later. Bye. She hung up the phone, brushed her hair quickly in front of the dresser mirror, then hurried down the stairs and out the door to meet Lee. The movie was one of those mindless California beach movies with a bunch of college nerds chasing after blondes in bikinis. Roxy was glad. She knew she couldn't concentrate on anything with a more complicated plot. She leaned close to Lee. They were seated up close to the screen. The theater was filled with kids and teenagers. Lee smelled of cinnamon. His dark hair tumbled down from his shark's cap. He didn't smile, but his eyes showed that he was enjoying the film. When the movie ended, they walked out of the theater hand in hand. Lee drove her home. They talked and laughed about what a dumb movie it was. Lee confessed that he loved dumb movies. Roxy tried to list the dumbest movies she had ever seen. As Lee pulled the car up her driveway, Roxy stared out of the passenger window. She half expected to see Terry waiting at the side of the house once again. She breathed a sigh of relief when she saw he wasn't there. I have to break up with him tomorrow, she told herself. I have to get it over with. I have to get Terry out of my life. I can't keep on living in fear, expecting him to pop out at me everywhere I go. She leaned over the seat and kissed Lee goodnight. A long, lingering kiss that led to another. As she kissed him, she pushed away his shark's cap and ran her hand back through his wavy dark hair. See you tomorrow? She whispered, brushing her lips against his cheek. Yeah, come to the dock after class, he said. Maybe we can go fishing or something. Or something, she repeated. She kissed him again. She really didn't want to get out of the car. She felt so warm, so safe. A few minutes later, she was up in her room, sitting on the bed, gazing at the clock radio, wondering if it was too late to call Ursula. The phone rang. Oh, good, Roxy said out loud. Ursula must be calling me, she thought. But when she picked up the receiver and said hello, a cold chill rolled down her back as she recognized Terry's voice. I saw you, Roxy, Terry uttered in a low, menacing voice. You shouldn't have been there. Chapter 24. After French class the next morning, Roxy dropped into the office to ask Ursula how her ankle was feeling. Much better, Ursula told her, tapping her fingernails against the desktop. I can almost get my sneaker on without screaming in agony. Listen, Roxy. Terry called me last night, Roxy interrupted. He did see me that night at the Mesker's house, Ursula. He threatened me. He told me I shouldn't have been there. Roxy, you've got to listen to me, Ursula said urgently, raising a hand to silence her friend. Please, let me tell you this. I know what you're going to say, Roxy insisted. You're going to tell me I have no choice, that I have to go to the police and tell them about Terry. Well, maybe I will. I don't know. Roxy, listen, Ursula pleaded. But Mr. Rooney appeared suddenly from the inner office. Smiling at Roxy, he leaned over Ursula and began telling her something about the file she was keyboarding. Ursula kept nodding as the principal gestured to the stack of manila folders piled high on the desk. I'll call you later, Roxy called, and hurried out of the office. Ursula is probably right, she decided, stepping out into the bright sunlight and heading toward her blue Honda. Maybe I will stop by the police station later. Maybe they won't laugh at me or tell me I'm crazy. Terry did threaten me after all. Thinking hard, trying to decide what to do, Roxy drove to the beach. She parked at the edge of the dune near the small boat dock, locked the car, and hurried to see Lee. It was one of those perfect summer days. The sky was a clear, bright blue without a trace of a cloud. The air was warm and soft, gentle off the water, and not humid. The water lapped softly against the wood pilings of the dock. Roxy's eyes followed the curve of the beach to the right. The most popular swimming area was jammed with sunbathers. Dozens of swimmers were in the water, enjoying the calm water. The dock area was empty. Roxy saw Lee bent over the side of his yellow boat. He looked up as she called to him, her sandals thudding on the wooden dock. "How's it going?" she called brightly. "Not good," he replied. He bent over an open metal toolbox and shuffled through it with both hands. "I don't believe this," he muttered unhappily. Roxy stepped up beside him. "What's wrong?" "I'm trying to tighten this," he replied, motioning to the engine mount. "Would you believe I dropped my screwdriver in the water?" He shook his head angrily. "What a klutz," he muttered. "You want me to put on my diving suit and get it?" she joked. He grunted in reply and shuffled through the toolbox. "No more screwdrivers. It was my only one." "Oh, wait!" Roxy cried. "I might have one, in my car." He glanced up at her. "You carry around a toolkit in case someone needs a boat repaired?" "No, my dad makes me keep all these tools in the glove compartment, in case of an emergency," he said. Lee's face brightened a little. He climbed to his feet and adjusted the shark's cap over his hair. "You think you might have a Phillips screwdriver?" "Maybe," Roxy told him. She pointed to the dune. "Go check. I'm parked on the other side." "Be right back," Lee said. She watched him run across the small dock toward the pebbly dune. He runs so gracefully, she thought. She wondered if he played any sports. She'd never asked him about it. She turned and gazed down at the yellow boat, bobbing gently in the sparkling blue-green water. "I hope Lee can fix it," she thought. "It's such a perfect day to go out for a long ride." She turned when she heard Lee calling to her. He was standing on top of the dune, shouting something. She cupped her ear to hear better, and then realized what the problem must be. He couldn't get into the glove compartment. She had locked the car. "Coming!" Roxy shouted. Gripping the key in the pocket of her denim cutoffs, she ran to meet him. They walked side by side to the car. Roxy unlocked it and pulled open the passenger door. Lee bent into the car and began pulling tools out of the cluttered glove compartment. "Do I have the right kind?" Roxy asked, peering over his shoulder. He pulled out a large, red-handled screwdriver. "Yes, victory!" he cried happily, waving the screwdriver so she could see it. "Great!" Roxy exclaimed. Then, as Lee started to shove things back into the glove compartment, a yellow envelope toppled out, and several snapshots slid onto the seat. Lee picked them up, his dark eyes narrowing in surprise. "Hey, pictures of my bedroom," he cried, turning to her. "Where'd you get these?" Roxy gasped. She stumbled back. "So it was your house," she cried out in breathless horror. Lee shut his eyes and let out a disgusted groan. When he opened them again, his expression became hard and cold. "Looks like I just messed up, Roxy," he murmured. "What a shame. It was all going so well." Her throat choked with fear. Roxy took another step back. "I messed up. I just messed up," Lee muttered, more to himself than to her. "And now I'm going to have to kill you too." Chapter 25. "I tried frightening you," Lee confessed, his eyes dark and angry in the shadow of the shark's cap. "Then I tried winning you over. You were so eager to believe it wasn't my house you were hiding in." He shook his head sadly. "But now I messed up." With a frightened gasp, Roxy turned and started to run along the road, but Lee caught up with her easily. He grabbed one wrist and pulled her arm behind her back. "Let go of me!" Roxy shrieked, trying to squirm free. Then she felt the sharp, pointed tip of the screwdriver at the back of her neck. She stopped struggling. "No one wants to give me a break," Lee murmured, his breath hot against her neck. "No one wants to let me have a fresh start." He jerked Roxy's arm up hard behind her, making her cry out in pain. Keeping the screwdriver pressed against her neck, he began shoving her over the dune to the dock. Roxy was breathing hard. Her heart thudded in her chest. Her eyes darted over the beach. Wasn't anyone nearby? Wasn't anyone close enough to hear she screamed? Wasn't anyone close enough to come save her? No. Laughter and loud, happy voices floated from the far end of the beach, where the swimmers and sunbathers crowded together. Here at the small boat dock she could see no one. Move, Lee shouted in her ear. She felt his hot breath against the back of her neck, felt the sharp point of the screwdriver, felt his hand and shoulder roughly shoving her toward the water. Lee, please, she managed to cry. Sure, I did some bad things in Springdale, Lee uttered, not hearing her. Won't anyone ever let me forget? Maddie wouldn't let me forget. Maddie followed me to make sure I didn't forget. Now you. Lee, please, let me go, Roxy pleaded. Now you, he repeated breathlessly. Now you. With a hard shove, he pushed her off the edge of the dock into the boat. Roxy fell forward, landing on her elbows and knees. Pain shot up her entire body. What are you going to do? She stammered, gritting her teeth, trying to force away the pain. He stood at the edge of the dock, staring down at her. I'm going to give you a chance, Roxy, he said softly. I'm going to give you a chance because I like you. I really do. What do you mean? She demanded. I'm only going to take the boat out 4 or 5 miles before I dump you out, Lee replied casually. Who knows? Maybe you can swim back. I can't, Roxy cried shrilly. I can't swim that far, Lee. Please. I'm sorry, Lee said, frowning down at her. I'm really sorry, Roxy. I messed up. Please, Lee, Roxy pleaded in a shrill voice she didn't recognize. Her entire body convulsed in a shudder of terror. The boat bobbed beneath her. With a low groan, she reached up, grabbing frantically for the dock. Let me out, she cried, trying to pull herself up. But Lee moved quickly to block her path. Sorry, Roxy. Sorry, he repeated. I'm really sorry. Peering up at him, Roxy saw his expression suddenly change. He turned away from her, his eyes widened in surprise. Roxy heard footsteps over the dock, running, an angry shout. She cried out as Terry ran into view above her. His sleeveless blue t-shirt was drenched with sweat. His red hair was matted wetly to his forehead. Roxy, he cried, breathing hard. I ran all the way. Ursula told me. Roxy and I are going for a boat ride, Lee interrupted. See you later, Terry. No, Terry protested. No way. He lowered his eyes to Roxy. I told you you shouldn't have been there at that movie with him. I saw you there with him that night. I warned you. He killed that girl, Terry, Roxy cried. Help me. Don't move, Terry. We'll see you later, Lee uttered coldly, his dark eyes glaring at Terry. Lee started to lower himself into the boat, but Terry dove at him, wrapping his big arms around Lee's waist. They struggled for a moment, wrestling, standing up on the deck. Then Lee broke free of Terry's grasp. Terry lost his balance for a second, staggered back. Roxy cried out as Lee swung his arm back, then plunged the screwdriver into Terry's throat. Terry let out a startled groan. A stream of bright red blood spurted up from his neck. His hands shot up to his throat. He uttered another cry of pain, of shock. The cry ended in a choked whisper. Then he crumpled to the dock and didn't move. Terry? Terry? Terry! Roxy screamed his name again and again. She grabbed the dock piling, scrambling frantically to pull herself up. But Lee, still gripping the blood-stained screwdriver, shoved her down hard with his free hand. She stumbled back, fell to the boat floor, and before she could regain her footing, Lee had jumped down beside her. Let's get this over with, he muttered, starting up the motor. Chapter 26. With a roar, the yellow boat jolted away from the dock. Roxy lost her balance again, tumbling to the floor. Glancing back, she could see Terry's body sprawled motionless on the dock floor. Lee bent over the controls, muttering to himself. I've got to get out. Got to help Terry, Roxy told herself. The boat skipped over the low, dark waves. She took a deep breath, leaned over the side, and dove in. She plunged down heavily, gasping from the shock of the cold as the water swept over her. Down, down. She struggled to kick, to swim. Her sneakers felt as if they weighed 1,000 pounds each. Her heart pounding, she raised her arms, kicked furiously, and brought herself back up to the surface. Coughing and sputtering, she sucked in a mouthful of air. I'm turned around, she realized. I've lost my sense of direction. Searching frantically for the shore, she spun in the water. The dock came into focus, a short swim away. Roxy took another deep breath and held it. The current was strong, pulling her away, pulling her out farther from shore. Ducking her head into the water, she struggled against the undertow. She began swimming hard, taking big strokes, the roar of Lee's boat in her ears. The roar growing louder, closer. With a choking gasp, she glanced up and saw the boat moving toward her, backing toward her. He's going to try to pull me out, she thought, spitting out a mouthful of salty water, stroking hard against a strong, insistent current. No, he isn't. He isn't backing toward me. He wants to cut me. He's trying to cut me with the motor blades. The roar grew louder, deafening, thunder in her ears, paralyzing her. She gaped at the rectangle of yellow shooting closer, closer, bright as the sun. No! A terrified shriek escaped her lips, and she plunged into the water as the boat roared over her, blinding her, the blades churning up the dark water into a thick frothy curtain, just above her head, inches above her head. I can't see, she realized, struggling against the churning current. I can't hear. She surfaced, gasping for air, tossing her head, struggling to see. Blinking away the salty water, she saw the boat turning, sweeping around so quickly, backing toward her, the churning sharp blades spewing up a wide warning wake, then moving to attack. Her body suddenly felt so heavy, so heavy. The current pulled her, held her in place. She dove again, into the churning, bubbling waters. Too late. The boat was on top of her. The deadly blades whirred toward her head. Chapter 27. Silence. I'm cut, Roxy thought. I'm cut to pieces. I drowned. The water rocked and swirled around her. It swept her up to the billowing surface. Sunlight. Or was it the yellow of the boat coming back to slice off her head? She sucked in a deep breath. I'm breathing, Roxy realized. I'm alive. Sunlight shimmered on the water, surrounded her in sparkling yellow circles of light. And then she heard the roar once again, saw the boat backing toward her at full speed. No, she decided. No, I'm not going to let him do this. A desperate plan flashed into her mind. As the boat roared closer, she could see Lee bent over the controls, his dark eyes staring out at her, aiming the blades for her head. With a burst of strength, Roxy dove to the side, through the tossing waters, out of the boat's path. Then she quickly twisted her body, spun, reached up her arms, and grabbed the side of the boat with both hands. Can I tip it over? She wondered. Am I heavy enough to tip it over and spill Lee into the water? Chapter 28. Grasping the side of the boat with both hands, she tugged. The boat swept along, carrying her, pulling her through its frothing wake. Her arms ached. She tugged, struggled to pull the boat over. It rocked, tilted at an angle. Roxy held on, but she realized her plan was no good. She wasn't strong enough, wasn't heavy enough. Lee glared down at her, his expression cold and hard. He raised a screwdriver and slammed the blade down toward her right hand. Roxy gasped and jerked the hand away before the blade hit, and lost her hold on the boat, and slipped heavily down into the cold water, sputtering and choking. She pulled herself back to the surface, shaking her head hard, trying to toss away the salty water that blurred her vision. The boat. Where is the boat? Why isn't it coming back for me? She wondered. Squinting against the bright sunlight, she found the shore. I'm so close to the dock, she realized. Then she saw the dark figures running over the dock. She saw their guns trained on the yellow boat, which was slowly floating to the dock. As the dark figures came into focus, Roxy realized they were police officers. Her heart pounding, she began to swim. With strong, steady strokes, she pulled herself toward the shore. Lee had docked the boat, she saw. 2 dark-uniformed officers moved quickly to grab him. As Roxy swam closer, she saw dark uniforms bent over Terry. She saw them lift Terry in a stretcher and carry him away. How did they know? Roxy wondered. How did they know to come here? A few moments later, strong hands helped pull her onto the dock. Are you okay, miss? A blonde-haired police officer asked. Roxy nodded. I guess so. Terry? He'll be okay, the officer replied. We got the bleeding stopped. He should be fine. And then Roxy saw Ursula running to her, her arms outstretched. Ursula wrapped her in a tight hug. You're okay? You're okay? I was so scared. Ursula, you? Roxy managed to choke out. I tried to warn you back at the school office, Ursula told her, but you ran out. You wouldn't listen to me. But how did you know? Roxy demanded breathlessly, pushing her soaked hair back off her face with both hands. I was typing the files, Ursula told her. I saw Ray Metzger's address. I saw that it wasn't on Seabreeze. Ray doesn't live anywhere near there, so I knew Lee had lied to you. I tried to tell you, but you hurried off to meet him. So you sent Terry? Roxy asked. Terry came by a few seconds after you left, looking for you. He was so upset that he saw you out with Lee. I told him where you were. Then I had a bad feeling. I didn't want you going on that boat with Lee, so I called the police. I was almost fish food, Roxy murmured, shaking her head. Ursula, you... I saved your life, Ursula said, grinning. Well, don't worry about it. You'll just owe me for as long as you live? Roxy shivered. Ursula put an arm around her shoulders and started to lead her to the car. At the top of the dune, Ursula suddenly let go of Roxy and reached down to the pebbly ground. She picked up a blue and silver cap, Lee's shark's cap. Dusting it off, she slipped it onto her head. Hey, Roxy, guess what? Ursula said, grinning. I win the bet? This has been a Nightfall Audiobooks production of I Saw You That Night by R.L. Stine, a point horror novel, Book 15. Hi, this is Chris from Nightfall Audiobooks, and thank you very much for joining me for my production of I Saw You That Night by R.L. Stine. I forgot all about this book. I do remember reading this quite a bit when I was a kid. The scene where Roxy takes the picture as the murder is occurring, then she's fretting and trying to get it developed and wasting her whole morning, and she's going bananas trying to figure out, did I get a picture or not? Do I really know who killed the girl or not? That stuck in my head really, really strongly. In fact, I was looking for this book for some reason. I was thinking about just that scene, and I could not remember which book it was that I had read, and I didn't think it was R.L. Stine at all, actually. And then when I got to the end, and Lee and Terry fight, Lee stabs Terry in the throat with a screwdriver, and he goes down, and then Terry tries to kill Roxy in the water with the boat. All of that stuff came back to me, and I was like, yeah, you know what? And I remembered I did actually enjoy this book as a kid, but for some reason, with the crazy cover, with the skeleton and the sunglasses and the lanyard, and it doesn't jive with the story, I would just look at this cover and completely forget the plot. That was a lot of fun to read. I'm very glad I did that book. I knew I had read it before. It was like a new novel until I got to about halfway through, and then things started to come back to me. And then I was like, oh cool, we're going to have some fun now. Do I recommend this novel? Yeah, it's a pretty good R.L. Stine summer novel. It has situations where you can easily imagine yourself living in a summer town and then having to take your entire summer to go to summer school. Like, that's gotta be a drag. The bet with the two girls, hey, let's see who can get the shark cap first. It's just very easy to imagine this entire plot going down. It's a lot of fun to read. So what should I do next? I don't know. Please write me an email, nightfallaudiobooks@gmail.com. I'm also on YouTube at Nightfall Audiobooks. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Sometimes I do polls, sometimes I post updates to what's going on with the channel, so please stay tuned for any updates. I also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/nightfallaudiobooks. Any help will be greatly appreciated. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell whoever you think would like to listen to me tell them tales from R.L. Stine. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.